The question is in Matthew 1, we see that Jesus cannot rule from the line of David. Joseph's line through Jeconiah was cursed by God. In Jeremiah 22:30, thus says the Lord, record this man as childless, a man who shall not succeed in his days, but none of his offspring shall succeed in sitting on the throne of David, ruling again in Judah. Because of this, Jesus cannot be the one who can sit on the throne of David. So that is the question that was asked by this viewer.
Notice in Luke chapter 1, verse 32, what Luke says here, what the angel said, behold, you shall conceive in the womb. This is the angel talking to Mary, bring forth a son, his name shall be Jesus. So we're definitely talking about Jesus Christ here. He shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord shall give unto him the throne of his father David. So here's a clear promise in the Bible that God is going to give to Christ the throne, and it's clearly indicated, of his father David. Well, Luke is actually the genealogy of Mary, not of Joseph. And in fact, it is Heli who is the father of Mary, and therefore the father-in-law of Joseph. Joseph is the son-in-law of this Heli, the father of Mary. It just says, which was of Heli. So this is the genealogy of Mary and not that of Joseph. But here it's through another son, a second son called Nathan. So Mary's line also comes from David, but through a different son. The point simply is that this is the bloodline of his mother, Mary, goes all the way back to David and hence through Abraham. And it is through his mother's bloodline that Jesus can therefore sit on the throne of David. That's how that works, and that is the explanation. So I'd just like to add in conclusion here to this kind of a question is that, again, I don't know the motivation of the person who wrote this question, but it's what I call a micro view. In other words, you take one statement out of the Bible and you base your conclusion. In other words, the conclusion here was, therefore, he can't rule from the throne of David. You base your conclusion on one verse. And that is not the way to study the Bible. You have to have a macro view. You have to take into consideration a whole lot of other verses, and particularly as we saw in Luke chapter 1, verse 32, where there's a promise, an absolute promise, that Christ will rule on his father's throne and that his father is David. So that is very clear, and it just needs a little bit of understanding and a little bit of explanation.
Uncover the mystery of Adam and Eve's nakedness. Unravel the ambiguous connection between the Hebrew term for naked and the serpent's subtlety. Join us for this free mini-course and gain a profound new perspective on biblical Hebrew. TheExplanation.com/naked